How's it going, guys? In the most recent meal planning video that I did for this year, I was talking a lot about my sister's cold lentil salad recipe, and also I think this was from the year before. And many of you in the comments had said, could you share your sister's recipe? That sounds really good. I have a hard time making unique things with lentils. So I chatted with my sister and she said, yes, absolutely share it. And I made the recipe up so you don't have to credit anyone or anywhere or worry about any of that. She originally made this for me when I visited her in California, probably 8 years ago maybe now. And ever since I had this salad that summer, it's something that I crave from time to time, especially in the summer. And one of the things that I love about this recipe is almost all of it can come from your garden. At the time, she and her husband had an amazing, gorgeous garden in their backyard, and just about everything, I think except for the avocado and the lentils, came from their garden that summer. So I tried to plant a lot of the things in this salad because that just makes it even fresher and even cheaper and better and all of those things when we eat this salad. I love doing this salad for a lunch because there's not a lot of ingredients. It doesn't take long to prep it. And if we don't have leftovers, it's just a really good, quick thing to throw together and has all of the things that you need to make it a good meal that's going to stick with you without it being too involved or expensive or any of those things that make it challenging to be in the kitchen a lot as a mom. So I'm excited to share this recipe with you guys, and let's go ahead and just get started. Hey guys, just wanted to let you know that I have a new free workshop that shows you how to meal plan so you'll never have to do it again in just 1 week. There is a link to that free workshop in the description down below, and I would love to see you there. Now, for those of you who have just been wishing and hoping that I would do another Set It and Forget It meal planning bootcamp before the end of the year, you're in luck because I decided to do one this July to help any of you who want to get your meal plan set up before the start of school. So registration is now open for that bootcamp, and you will see the link to that in the description down below as well. And we just have so much fun on that bootcamp week. Now, if you've already done the bootcamp in the past but you want to do it again, don't register. You will be getting an email from me saying, hey, do you want to be a part of this bootcamp or not? And I'll make sure you get the emails if you do. But if you've never done the bootcamp before, be sure to register down below. The bootcamp will be taking place live the week of July 7th. And this is the first time that I'm actually playing around with having more than one coaching call each day just to accommodate different people's schedules. So there will be some information coming out about that soon for those that register. So be sure to sign up right away so you don't miss any of the information about this bootcamp. I hope to see you either on the workshop or at the bootcamp. And for now, let's get back to the video. The first thing you want to do is you want to cook your lentils. So I did that ahead of time, and you actually want the lentils to cool. And I have her recipe here that she made for me all those years ago. So I'm just going to make sure. So she does, and I think I can put this in the comments. I'll put the recipe in the comments so you don't have to try to take notes. But it is 2.5 cups dry lentils cooked. So I usually just Google how to cook lentils and cook the lentils according to that and use 2.5 cups of the dried lentils. And I just use the normal standard lentils. It's not the red lentils, it's not the little French lentils, it's just the plain cheapest lentils that you can buy at the store. And you can just let it cool. So sometimes if I want to do it for lunch, I will just cook these as I'm cooking breakfast stuff and then just let it cool until lunchtime, and then it's ready. I made these last night because I was also cooking beans, so it just worked to do both at the same time. And now they are nice and cool. So I have often said in my meal planning videos that I like to double just about everything so that I have leftovers. But this recipe is one I specifically don't double because with the vegetables in with the lentils with the lemon juice that you use to kind of dress the salad, the vegetables can get a little soggy and broken down if you make it the day before even and use it the day of. So I try to only make this the day of that I'm going to use it. So I didn't even use all of the lentils right now as I'm putting this together. I will save it and use that to make another little batch later when I want it. But I know we're having company tonight. They're bringing some things, I'm making some things, and I don't want to make more than will get eaten in that meal. So I have the lentils here, and then I'm going to add some cherry tomatoes, and I kind of half or quarter them depending on the size of the cherry tomatoes. And it's nothing too scientific. Even in the recipe, I think she just says add chopped veggies, so it's as much as you would like. And I just kind of do it based on sight and look. So after I add one of the veggies in, I'll kind of stir it in and see if that seems like a good amount in the bowl. And I like to have, for myself, the lentils kind of be the bulk of it, with the veggies just kind of offering little pops of flavor. So you can see it's not a ton of tomatoes, but it's a good amount. I think I have it pretty well incorporated. I tell you, I had a really hard time finding a clear bowl for this. So I found, it's not super pretty, but I found one so that you could actually see what's going on here. So that's about how many cherry tomatoes. Then I have green onions here, and I'm going to add those in, kind of same thing. I'm not gonna add too many because it can add just a tiny bit of spiciness, and if you have young kids, or I know the company that we're having over tonight has a less spicy palate than I do and my kids do, so I don't want to add too many of the green onions. But I know to me and my kids, I would add, and my husband, I would add a lot more green onions than this normally, but I try to keep in mind when we are having company. Again, you can kind of see here, there's not a ton of green onions, but they're definitely in there. So again, just kind of to your taste as your family likes these ingredients. Then we have cucumbers, and this is probably my favorite ingredient in this salad. I love fresh cucumbers, and there's just something really cooling about them in this salad. And then I almost forgot, I didn't have these out before actually, but the recipe does call for bell peppers, and I do like bell peppers in there too. So I'm gonna grab some of these out, and I'm picking them out because they've been combined with the tomatoes, and I already have plenty of tomatoes in here. So just pick out some of the peppers. This was from our haystacks last night. If any of you watched that video, sometimes when we're putting the toppings away, we'll just throw a couple of things into the same container to save space in the fridge and just make it easy for getting things out. So incorporate that in. Just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. So the chopped veggies, she says tomato, cucumber, bell pepper, avocado, green onion. Ooh, and then she says 4 cloves of garlic. I had forgotten about that. So I will chop some garlic now. I think that's all for the veggies. Okay. I'll probably just do 2 cloves of garlic because garlic can add a spiciness, and I didn't use all of the lentils. Because I did 2.5 cloves here. 2 plus a tiny one. That's okay. Okay. That's good. Garlic in. And then the avocado, I am not going to add right now, because if you put the avocado in before you eat it, you're going to get everything a little mushy. Avocados, I feel like, just go bad so quickly once they're cut. So typically what I'll do is I will cut an avocado and I will put it to the side of the salad and let everyone put their own on. That way, if the salad doesn't all get eaten in one meal, it doesn't ruin the rest of the salad. I made that mistake a few times before. I thought, okay, you know what? I'm not going to put the avocado in the salad from the start. Now, I said the cucumber was my favorite ingredient. I think this is my favorite. I had never really fallen in love with oregano before this salad, and my sister had grabbed the fresh oregano from her garden and just put a ton of it in this salad, and it's the only herb you use, and it just is so fresh and delicious. And I think before this, I always knew what rosemary tasted like. I knew what basil tasted like. But if you had asked me, oh, do you know, if I had tasted different little herbs, could you tell me if it was oregano? I probably would have said no. But this salad just really made me fall in love with it. And growing herbs, if you've not done that, is so easy. And they're so expensive to buy at the store. So I will start always basil. My husband actually starts them because he is better about getting that stuff done. He always does a bunch of basil so we can make pesto and another amazing pasta dish that he likes to make. And I will always have him do some oregano, and it really only takes like one little plant and you'll have more than you can use all summer long. So I don't know why I'm sprinkling in it. I'm gonna use it all. I love it, and I don't feel like you can have too much. Taste it, obviously, when you're doing it and make sure that you like it, but I love the taste of fresh herbs. So it just makes it a really fresh and tasty. I know I've said fresh probably 100 times already, but that's really the essence of this salad. Okay, what's next? Salt and juiced lemons in olive oil. I didn't get those things out, so I will do that right now. Okay, so she says to use 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and I just kind of drizzle it on there. It's kind of for the dressing, so I don't feel like I have to be too precise. I like things to be well dressed. I like sauces, so it just kind of helps the lemon juice really move around the salad and the salt. And then she says, let's see, how much salt does she say? 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I always just do it to taste. So I will add some, and I'll add the lemons, and I will taste, and I will adjust. I tend to be a little more of a shooting from the hip type of a cook when it comes to seasonings and dressings. I do follow recipes, but then I usually end up adjusting with their whatever seasonings they do. I often tend to double them just because I like lots of spices in my food. It's probably because growing up, my mom was very, very specific about following recipes, so I learned how to do that. And my dad never, ever, ever followed a recipe. And usually he would just walk into the kitchen if he was cooking, look around and be like, huh, I think we could make this, and just come up with something interesting and really tasty. So I kind of learned from both of them, and now I kind of cook like both of them. Now the lemon juice is where my husband would tell you something very different than I would. The recipe says 3 to 4 lemons juiced into the salad. So that's the official what you're supposed to do. But my husband usually tells me whenever he sees me get out this citrus squeezer and a lemon or a lime when I'm cooking, he always says, please don't add too much lemon or lime. Now to me, that's impossible. And too much lemon or too much lime would be an oxymoron. Not even something that could happen. I love it, and when I add lemon or lime to my water, it's usually a little cloudy because that's how much I like it. So I'd probably add a little more lemon than most people would like. I realized that I really, really like sour things, and I really, really like spicy things. So my tolerance and my enjoyment is different than some people's. So again, add a lemon, taste it. Add a lemon, taste it, or add half a lemon if you're like my husband, and then taste it. So I will just do the 3 lemons for now before I taste it. It also depends on your lemons, right? Sometimes you get a ton of juice from every lemon, and sometimes it's like 1/4 teaspoon. So depends on your lemons. But I'd say the main thing to do when you're making this recipe, especially for the first time, is just really taste it. Wash your hands. Okay, I'm gonna stir it up, and then I'll show you guys where we're at. I actually might taste it before I do that. I think I may have overcooked my lentils just a little bit. Normally I like to leave them a little more al dente for this salad so that they hold up and they don't mush down, but I may have been going up and down the stairs doing different things and not watching them carefully. So it's a little bit mushier than normal, but to me, that doesn't bother me. So just keep your lentils a little bit on the al dente side if you want them to maintain their shape. And you could also use the French lentils if that's really important to you, because they just maintain their shape better. So I'm going to taste and see if I want any more lemon or any more salt. This almost never happens, but I think I'm actually going to leave it like it is. It almost never happens on the first try. Maybe I should film every time I'm cooking and it'll just all work together magically. But I'll come over so you guys can see how it looks. And that's it. That is how you make my sister's awesome cold lentil salad. I will, let's see, let me grab a bowl. Just kidding, we're out of bowls. So I grabbed a plate, and I will just plate up a little bit so you can see it with the avocado. It's a pretty avocado. And again, the nice thing about everyone being able to add their own avocado is some people can add more, some people can add less. You could also do this, like if you saw that haystack video, how everyone adds their own veggies, you could also do it kind of like that, have the lentils and then the vegetables separate so everyone can add their own. You could even do the dressing separate, so if some people like it less dressed, then it's not so much dressing either. So you could do it that way. I almost always do this one all together, except for the avocado. And that's how it looks with the avocado. It's not the most jaw-droppingly gorgeous salad because of the lentils, but I don't know, I really like it. And to me, it's pretty easy, especially if chopping isn't something that bothers you. It's not my favorite thing to spend a lot of time chopping, but the amount of chopping in this recipe isn't overwhelming for me, and I still feel like I can make it pretty quickly and get it on the table without too long. And when I have taken this to potlucks and things like that, it is almost always gone. So if you like lentils, definitely give it a try. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe. All right, guys, I hope to see you either at the workshop or at the boot camp. But if not, I'll see you on the next video.